Hi, welcome to Artistic Designs by M&M. My name's Michelle. I am an independent designer with Couture, and I am here to kind of show you what is it? October's Club Couture project that came out. It's called Fallidays. It's a little acorn that says Happy Fallidays on it. So there you go. Okay. So if you order a box or sign up with Couture, the club, to where you get a subscription, you get it every month. You get a new project. It comes with instructions. It also comes with paste, which is little paste packets right here, and then depending on the pack, you know, whether or not how many boards or whatever, it does give you a starter pack, but you'll also get some surfaces, a surface or two, but that's just at the very beginning. So you can reuse the boards every month for the project. Pretty much you got both front and back to be able to use, and you just, when you're tired of one, just wash it off and you have room for another one. So I'm going to use the same colors and a little bit of how they're kind of doing it in the instructions, but I'm not doing it completely step by step like the instructions say. So the Club Couture for this month project comes with almond, which is this color, the red apple, and orange pill. They would come in, like I said, these packets. You just want to massage the packets, mix the paste all up, and then you just put it into like a small little bowl or little plate or something. You don't want to put a lot, just put a little bit, so that way you have enough just to kind of get your project done. But you can always keep whatever that you don't use in this packet, and you can just reseal it, and you have some left over for another time. Okay, so be cautious of that. The less paste you use, you know, you got more paste for later. So if you don't waste it, you've got plenty. So let me get my screen switched here for you, so that way you can be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, so you can still see me, but now you can also see the board. So I'm going to get my towel out for fuzzing. So when you get these, they're brand new, and you want to fuzz them depending on what you're doing the first time, just because it's going to be really sticky. And it also depends on what you're doing on how much you want to fuzz it. So since this is a Couture board, it's not going to stick to my board like it would with some other surfaces, so I don't have to worry about fuzzing it up too much, but just enough to where it's got a little bit of something. And I'm going to put it on at an angle because I don't like to have things as straight, and if it doesn't need to be, if I can put it at an angle or make it look a little bit different, so that way it's not like everybody else's, or you know, it's got a touch of me, I'm going to add that. So I am just going to make sure I go across the whole transfer here of where the design is, because I want to make sure that there's no debris underneath it, and if there is, you're going to fill it. And I also want to make sure there's no air bubbles. Air bubbles will leave extra paste underneath your screen, and it's not going to be very good, okay, because you don't want that. So I have stirred up my pastes. So pretty much when you open them, you just want to stir them and make sure that they're nice and mixed, and that they are like a yogurt consistency. And mine kind of like wants to dry up a little bit faster. And so I kind of have mine just a little bit thinner because I've noticed, I think it's just, my house must just be just dry and it's just a little more, I'm not sure. But it's just like, it's drying, it dries up on me really fast. And so it's like, it doesn't give me a whole lot of playing room. So I really have to make sure that they're good and ready to use. Okay. So I want to see if I need to, which I think my almond may be just fine, but let me see. I think we'll be fine. It's not as loose as the orange and the red, but it'll still be good. So pretty much, I'm gonna make my top part an almond, but I want to actually add another color to it. Let me grab it up. I want to add a little bit of brown into it. I don't want it just almond. And this is the nice thing. If you have extra colors, by all means, you know, add any of your colors. This is where you get to play with it and do what you want, and you create it the way you want it. And that's why I said you got the instructions on how to do it, but you don't have to follow the instructions, not unless that's all you have. Then you kind of play with what you get. But I have brown, so I'm going to add some brown. So I am going to put this, the almond, just kind of all over the board there. And then next I am going to take my brown. So this one's actually called bark, is what they call it. But I think it'll add just a nice little depth and a little bit of darkness to my almond. So that way it's not so light in color. But in the bottom I want to add orange and red in here, so that's what I'm going to do with that. Okay, so next you're going to take your squeegee and you want to start working it through. And start getting it mixed in all over your design with that silk screen. So anywhere that you have opening where that design and that silk screen where the design is, you want to make sure it's just all covered. And since mine, like I said, mine does dry out a little bit more here, I just try to get it on and get it layered as good as I can. And then I just try to make sure that if I do have a lot of extra paste, I take it off and I put on a paper towel. But primarily, I just try to get off as much as it will let me. But I try to keep a little bit on here as well to try to keep it wet and moist. Just because, like I said, it does dry out a little bit faster for me. So once I'm done with that, you grab from the corners to kind of get it lifting up, and then you grab to the center and you start working your transfer up. And then you have the acorn part top there, okay? So now I'm gonna grab my blow dryer because I do not want to lay it back down on my transfer back down on the board while it's still wet. I'm going to give it a little bit of cool air just to dry it. like I said, it does dry fast, so giving it a little extra air just helps it a little bit faster, so that way I'm not leaving it all wet on my board, and it pretty much makes it to where I can at least lay my transfer part back over it and it's not going to ruin it. So you just want to make sure that it's just kind of dry, which you can tell because it's just going to be kind of, you might feel just a little bit, but it's not going to come off as you kind of rub it. It's just kind of like you kind of feel like just like chalk residue is what it is. So I'm going to put it back down. But now I am just going to make sure that the spot that I need next is pressed down, which is for my bottom part here. Okay. And one thing you always want to make sure on is make sure your fingers are clean. Don't get any extra paste on them because then you'll get it everywhere else. And if you're doing a project that you don't want it anywhere else, that's when it's really important to make sure your fingers are clean. So I am going to start getting this down the center here. So I'm just going to start, just get it all over the bottom part of the acorn here. And then I'm going to take my red, or my orange, sorry. Can't say what my colors are here for some reason. Calling them something else. I just put too big of a glob there, so I was kind of cleaning it up a bit. Because the one thing about this, since you can't quite put it back into your jar after you have mixed them, I tried to make sure that I have put enough on here just to get it worked on my board and on the silk screen. But hopefully not to have so much extra where it's like I'm wasting a lot of paste at the same time. And if you do have a lot extra, you know, and you have something little to put it in and you want to keep it, by all means, you know, keep it. Just use a smaller little container and just put it in that. So I'm just gonna make sure that my orange is up here as well. So now I'm going to start working these colors. And just be careful not to go too much into your upper design, just enough to get up and to get the whole bottom portion, but you don't want to go too far up into the top part of the acorn because you've already done that and you don't want to mix it with your other one. So, or you'll end up with some extra red and orange in your upper part of the acorn where you didn't really want it. So I'm just wiping off my squeegee, wiping off some of that extra paste. Just trying to get as many of the lines out of here as well. And just trying to make sure it's all over the place and that it's hopefully not dried out. If you feel like there's a spot that kind of started drying on you too much, just kind of re-moisten it a bit. So as long as it's on my paper towel, I can still use it in my one spot. Okay, so, and then start working it up. And if you feel like there's a spot where it feels like it needs to be pushed through just a little bit more, go ahead and rework it there. Uh-oh. I kind of got a little bit onto my A there, but I can fix that. Let's see. I was trying not to do that, but it still happened with my A. It's not wanting to go through. It kind of dried over here in the corner, so it's kind of not wanting to work very well. But I think we might still be okay. Yeah. It doesn't look that bad, so I think we'll be okay. So then you just put it in your water to get wet. And then I'll show you how I fix my egg, because I kind of got a little bit of extra, because when I was trying to push it through, I didn't quite set it back down all the way, and so I kind of pushed a little bit of paste onto my egg. I didn't mean to do that. So you just want to be careful, but you can easily fix up your little mistakes with just, like I said, it's washable, which is nice. So I'm just going to take a little bit of water on my Q-tip. And then I can just easily go through here and just kind of clean up my A a bit. Sometimes I like to cut just the extra little fuzzies off the bottom. It gives me a little bit of a better point on it. And then I don't get so much extra fuzz. So like I said, you just kind of clean up where you need to. I'm just kind of going along with the inside of the A there. And then there was one little spot right here on the D. There we go. I kind of got my P here a little bit too, I didn't realize. So I'll just clean up my P. That's why I kind of have, sometimes I have a hard time with my tie-dyes, like I said, in my house, because it's like, it wants to dry out really fast, and so then it peels up and it pulls on the paste, even though I try to keep it a little moist and a little more, so try not to do that. It just, for some reason, it's not a my house is not a big fan of tie-dye very well. So you asked me to do something else and it'll work. But if I work in smaller little sections, it will work. It's just a little more, takes a little more steps. Okay. And there is the finished project. Okay, so happy Fallidays. Let's see if I can get it more out of the way of my little screen down there. So there you go. Okay, Happy Fallidays. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside because I don't want it to get ruined. Now we want to close up all our pastes because we don't want them to dry out. And you just put the lids back on. And I like to keep my lids kind of next to where my pastes are, just that way I can make sure that I put them back on the right jars, because if I put them on the wrong jars, then you've got more of a chance of mixing your colors, and you don't want to do that. You want to be careful with how you mix your colors. Okay. So I'm going to lay those aside for right now. And then I don't want to leave my transfer in here for too long, so I'm going to get my transfer out. So I'll kind of show you how that works. All right. Let me get it closer to my water first, though. And then I'll bring it up to the table for you. So I'm just going to make sure that it's all wet, that everything got wet. And then I'm just going to set it on my towel. Okay. And then I'm just going to take, this is a board eraser. Oops, wrong side. Let's put it on the right side. I'm going to just start working at just scrubbing, at a gentle scrub of getting all the paste off. As long as you work it and start doing it right away and not let it sit on here for too long, pretty much basically all the paste will come off. Certain pigments, color pigments, are a little bit staining, so you may have some that will stain your transfer, and that's okay, because it's going to happen. Unfortunately, you can't get it all off, but you just at least get as much as the paste off that you can. You don't want to leave any paste on your transfer, because you want to preserve your transfer, because you can reuse this transfer again, and you want to be able to do that. You can use your transfers about 8 to 12 times, depending on the surfaces that you use them on and what you're doing with them. So as long as you're taking really good care of your transfers, they will last longer. So I'm just making sure that the whole top part of my Happy Fallidays is clean. And then I am going to get a wipe. So these are just disinfecting wipes. You don't want to use baby wipes or anything, because the baby wipes will, every one that I've, of the other videos that I've watched that do Couture, they say not to use baby wipes just because the baby wipes can actually ruin your transfer. The ones that they use is disinfectant wipes. So that is what I'm going with. I'm using disinfectant wipes. So once I clean off the top, I am going to remove it from my towel here. And then I am going to move this out of my way. So that way I can clean the bottom. So by using a disinfectant wipe, it is going to help revigorate the stickiness of your transfer. And it will also help, preserve the life of your transfer as well. So that way, because you want to keep that stickiness in it for as long as you can. So that way you can keep reusing your transfer. So if you take good care of your transfer, the more times you'll be able to use it. So just remember that. And I think that's the one thing that I like about this is that you can use the transfer multiple times. So if I don't like it one way, I can do it another way. I have that option to do it again because the transfer is still usable. And so it definitely makes it worth your money and your time to be able to reuse and have it last for as long as you need it to. Just like the paste, it can last up to, I've seen some of them that I watched that they have it for 6 months, a year, as long as you take really good care of your paste. I mean, you don't use very much of it, so unless you're doing a project that multiple projects that use that same color, then you may use more of it. Like on some of the projects I've been doing, I've been using a lot of white, so my white is starting to go, so I know I'm going to end up having to get more of that. But I mean, it just depends on what you're doing. So I'm going to set this aside just for a little while, just to dry a little bit more. And what else I had here is I was going to show you some of my small little, they're like little hanging tags in a way, is what they are. I'm making them for Halloween. And so I thought it would be just kind of cute just to show you a couple of them before I sign off. So, but I don't have very many squeegees and certain things like that, so I want to rewash these 2 big squeegees that I had. The stirring sticks aren't that big of a deal because I got plenty, I got more stirring sticks, but I just don't have very many squeegees. So I'm just trying to get them all wet and get them as much of the paste off as I can, so that way I don't have as much going on my towel. So I'm just wiping off my squeegees. Okay. Set my towel aside again. And then I'm going to get out my, they're called Let's Get Wicked. They're just small little little stickers or little transfers. So and that's what's nice about these. They're smaller. They're you can put it on whatever you want. So I definitely want some white, probably some storm, some purple. I want the orange. orange and the red. And let's get some green out. I don't know if I'll use it, but if I don't have to go back to it and get it. So these are my little tags that I have that I'm going to make. So they come with a little twine as well. So here's the twine, which I'll show you. And then I can just easily take my transfers, or my transfers, and put them on here. So there's a few that I was going to do, so that I know for sure that I was going to do, because we have this little theme kind of going at our front desk at work, and so I thought I'd make one for each. So I needed to kind of go along with this. So I need a ghost, because we have one desk that's going to be a ghost. Which I think I might have to do the ghost. Let's see. Let's do him probably this way, the long way, because he'll fit on here better with the word ooh on top. So you just kind of work it and you see how it's going to fit. And once you kind of have it where you think it's going to fit, go ahead and put it there. The other one I want to do is the bats. So I'm going to get the bats down on here. Actually, let's see if it'll work this way, so I can... No, it's going to work better this way. And then the other one that we had there was the pumpkins. I had to think of what the third one was. There's 4, but I had already did one for the Let's Get Wicked. Yeah. But I do want to make another one for my room doors, for the doors that go to the rooms that I use. So I want to make me another Let's Get Wicked, because I gave that one to them at the front desk. That way they can use it with their, because they have the little witch hats and stuff like that. So they're using that there. And then I want to do a spider web. Let's see. I think I'm also going to do a hocus pocus. I did do a hocus pocus earlier today, or I had taken a sample of it to work, and somebody really liked it, and so she decided she wanted to buy it off me, so I let her have it. So, you know, it happens. So I needed to make me a new one. I'm trying to think of, if I want to put 3 on each of my doors, I need, because I have 1 on the doors right now, so I have 2 here, well, maybe 2. I need 2 more. So like I said, they have these little twines on them, the little string, but I don't want them on here the way they are, so I'm going to put them on differently. So I'm going to take it off, and it makes it a little bit easier to paste with them off. So, but I'm trying to think. Let's see. I think I want to do the skull. And maybe I'll do another ghost for the rooms. So that means just repeat the ghost. So let's do the ghost and get that one out of the way. So let's do this. That way I can do the two right away. So since my ghost is white, I want to use white. So again, just stir up your paste. Make sure it's nice and all stirred up. And then you can just stick some on, which I don't need a whole lot since it's a small transfer. And then you're just going to make sure that it's all over. Get it all over that ghost. And whatever you don't need, you can easily just put it right back into your jar because it's the same color. Okay. So then go ahead and peel it off. And there's your ghost. Okay. So there's the cute little ghost. So I'm just going to do one more. So let's get this one on here. And you can reuse it as long as you just can't reuse it too many times because then the paste starts getting stuck in the transfer. But usually, depending on what it is, I can usually do it twice. Some of the smaller stuff or whatever it is, I can sometimes go a little bit more than twice by reusing it. Before it dries out and I have to clean off the transfer, you just kind of see how it goes. Just since I'm only doing it twice, it's not gonna make it hard on my transfer. Got a little paste there on my finger. Let's see. So I'm just gonna clean it off because I don't want to touch anywhere else with the paste. And then just pull it off. Whoops. See, kind of dried on the top. Go figure. There we go. Maybe. It's trying to prove me wrong, saying I couldn't use it twice. See what happens? Saying no, it's not wanting to go through it. So there you go. So there's the little ghost. So there's the two. And then I'm just gonna stick it right into my water. And with these being a little bit smaller, you don't want to leave them in there too long, so I may end up just taking it out after a while and just sticking it on my towel, is usually what I end up doing. Okay, so there's my ghosts. I'll move them out of my way. So now I want to do my bats. But I want to do them with purple, but this time I'm going to do a little bit of white. This morning I did it with a little bit of, I think, a little bit of iced coffee, I think is what I used. I had just used very little underneath, just to kind of make it a little bit lighter. So it just lightens up my purple just a little bit so it's not so dark on my black boards, because the black boards are very dark. And so then the purple is a little bit hard to see through it. So now I'm just going to run purple right across it. So that way I can add some of that purple right in, mix some of that purple right into it. So that way it gets that lighter purple and mixed in with that white. But since I already used this with white, I don't want to put it back in into my purple. So I had to clean it off. And let's go ahead and pull it off. So there you go. So there's the purple. Let's go up to the screen. And then you kind of see it there where it's a little bit lighter. So you can see the purple. Let's see if I can. So you can see the purple in there. Let's see if I can get it to pull up on this a little bit better. You can see the purple there, but it's not as dark. Okay? And then we'll get this one out of the way. Since I have purple is what I wanted here. So that's how I did it this morning, and I really liked how I did it this morning. So I'm going to do it the same way. So with the purple on top, and then I am going to get my iced coffee, and that's what I had. I'm not going to use this one. It's a multi-tool, so that way I can get it into where the broom is a little bit easier, because it's a little bit of more of an awkward spot, as you can tell here. See how small it is. And so this tool gives me a little more control right there. So I can be able to get it right on the broom. And right where I want it. And then I'm going to do the top. So there we go. And then just peel it right off.